Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. I don't know where you're coming from, but it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this Saturday. I love doing these Saturdays. They're a little less, I think, intense than the Wednesdays, maybe. But I have such an awesome guest today. I'm really super excited to bring this guy on. We've been conversing about his cool platform that he built. I can't remember how long ago it was. He'll be able to tell you, but I the minute he reached out to me before, I was like, "Wow, brilliant idea, dude!" So, before I move forward, thanks again for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for helping this channel grow. Thank you so much for liking and also commenting. Comments mean a lot to me. So, I hope you're having an awesome Valentine's Day. And with that, if you're new here, thank you for checking me out. I super appreciate that very much. And also to the OGs, thank you also so much for continuing to support this channel and help it grow. And to the newbies, I love to do shout outs because you're going to see where everybody's from and how we're building such a great platform of really unity around the world and really understanding that diversity and inclusion is sitting here today. This is true diversity and inclusion. We care about everybody and everything here. So with that, if you just want to tell me where you're from, I'll do a minute or so of shout outs and then we'll get right into this amazing conversation that we're going to have today. So with that, I'm going to scroll back up and I see we got Virginia in the house. Right on. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it so much. And we got Florida, we got the Netherlands, we got Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you. We got USA, we got Liverpool, UK, Florida, Canada. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Canada. Edinburgh, Scotland. Right on. We got Vermont, Wales, London, Alaska, Flint, Michigan. In the house, we got New Mexico in the house, New Orleans in the house, San Francisco, Canary Island, Georgetown, Ohio, Austin, Texas. Which I'll be in Austin March 13th through the 15th for South by Southwest. But we'll talk about that later. Wisconsin, Italy. We got, is that, I can't even read what that says. Sorry, my eyes are horrible. I have to go get surgery. Germany, UK, Savannah, Georgia, West Virginia, where my mom's from, Colorado Springs. We got Callie and Lisa's in the house, who's our moderator. If you guys have any problems, reach out to Lisa. We don't like trolls here. You're more than welcome to have a different opinion, but do not come and troll this chat because you'll be kicked out. Borger, Texas, and Germany. So just so you know, we love conversation here, and I will always bring you up to on stage if I feel like your comment is super important. But also, if you're going to be a troll in this space, because I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get some, because what we're going to talk about today is something that's super heavy, and that, as you all know, I support detransitioners. It's not that I don't even know, is support the right word? I guess so. What I believe is that their voices are extremely important in this fight to stop the ideological space. And so I have always given them a platform here because the transgender ideology has a huge platform. And I do not believe the detransitioners have the same respect or get the same platforms that young people who transition get. So I am here to show you that trans ideology is different. Remember, this is different than gender dysphoria. And I can prove it to you all, and we can prove it to the world by having guests like this on and having conversations with young people who transitioned only to have regret. I need to also keep reminding you, I did this over 30 years ago. I have no regret. Why do I not have any regret? There's many reasons why I would say so. Transitioning as an adult, being very living in a reality-based space. I am not a man. Let's just get that out there. I'm not a man. We all know that. I look like a dude, right? No kidding. The whole point of gender dysphoria is to move through the world without your dysphoric stuff. So when you see young girls still looking like girls and cutting their breasts off and moving through the world as trans men, that's just not true. Then when you see young girls who are transitioning and realize that they're not really trans, and then coming to the understanding that they made a huge effing mistake. Effing mistake. This isn't just some kind of, made a tattoo, okay? In this day and age, who cares about tattoos? But there's some people who don't want that. It's not as simple as a tattoo. They are cutting body parts off, seriously. And YouTube, settle down. I'm 100% should be able to speak about this on my platform as somebody who has lived in this space for 30 plus years. Transsexual people exist. I prove that. Blair proves it. Tori proves it. Many of us prove it. But what we have to have is this conversation we're going to have today. And why this man who I'm bringing on, I think, is just a genius for creating a platform that gives, and I'll put the link to the site and everything to it, because I think the more we can uplift this person's voice and get this platform out, they can't stop it. So these are the true stories of people who have been put into a position for whatever reason. Okay, they're suffering, they need something, it's tribalism, it's I need to be seen. There's many reasons why these young, mostly girls, are being sucked into this transition space. But when they get a platform to talk about why they did it, we can learn from that, right? Thanks for becoming a member. I appreciate that. We can learn from mistakes. This is what I don't understand. Mistakes are important, but these kind of mistakes just shouldn't be happening. But mistakes need to be, you can change things through mistakes. You can learn through mistakes. We can understand why are so many young girls thinking they're getting top surgery and becoming non-binary, and why are they being so pushed back on with their own female space? I see these girls say, I miss girlhood. Can you imagine transitioning and saying, I miss girlhood? Those words have never come out of my mouth, ever, because I don't miss girlhood. Girlhood was my gender dysphoria. And it's just shocking that people are just acting like, what? What are you talking about? Detransitioners are liars. They were never trans. Boom. They were never transsexual. So why is it their fault that everybody hates them now because they're speaking against an ideological space? So I could go on and on and on. You all know how passionate I am about getting these voices out there, but I want to bring Peter on. And Peter is the creator of Detrans.Ai. And one of the things I'm going to ask all of you today is, after this or even during this, if you could go and push this website out there as much as possible, or introduce it to somebody who might be struggling in the transition space. This is how we're going to change before the kids get into a very horrible space of medication and surgery. And these are the reasons why I'm so lucky to bring Peter on and have a guest like this today. So let me just bring Peter on here. Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Peter's
pretty
coming
bright.
from New Zealand. So he's coming from New Zealand. Not sure how the connection's going to be. We'll make it work. I'll try not to over speak you. But why don't you introduce yourself and then we can move forward?
Yeah, so my name's Peter James Stephen. I'm from Wellington, New Zealand. Uh, I started creating Detrans.Ai about 5 months ago. For me, like, it's quite a personal project. I'm not a detransitioner myself, but I have a family member who has recently started medically transitioning,
Mm,
and
mm,
I this person had been identifying as non-binary for about 10 years actually, and I was always supportive of that. I didn't really understand,
mm,
but I got a bit more concerned when like the hormones and surgeries were suddenly on the table, and I I know this family member has had quite a dark past, and I was also kind of concerned about that, a dark childhood, I'd say.
mm, mm,
Um, So, yeah, when I heard that this person was considering hormones and surgeries, I started doing a bit more research, just trying to understand, like, what is trans? Why are you suddenly trans now when you were non-binary for 10 years?
mm,
Um, and then I found out about detransitioners, and when I started reading their stories, I just saw my family member's story, and like it's the same thing over and over a lot of the time. So I tried sending this person a couple of the stories, and basically just, well, I got told to stop attacking them, when I just sent like a loving message and like, hey, I really think you should check out some of these stories. Um, so yeah, I thought, well, I can't force anyone to read anything.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd been thinking about doing some kind of web project. I'm a web developer by trade, and I've worked as a web developer for about 5 years professionally, and about 10 years just like as a including my hobby projects. Um, I've been unemployed for the last year, so I've been looking for things to do and ideas and projects. And when I started reading these detransitioner stories, I just thought, why is this not talked about anymore? I had no idea detransitioners even existed,
Mm,
and this shouldn't be happening. Like, like you said, like mistakes like this shouldn't be happening. And then when I started going further into the topic, I realized that most of the time when you turn up at your doctor in New Zealand and in the States and most Western countries, they don't actually question why you feel this way. It's just, yes, 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 you're so brave, you're trans, you've found yourself, have like, I know in New Zealand they do like, they check your blood pressure, um, and I think they do a blood test, but then in the next appointment you can get your hormones. So it's like, there's just so much trans positivity these days, and it's just become so taboo to question someone's identity when there might actually be some really like serious stuff underneath that's causing them. I've kind of seen trans identity become like a framework for a lot of complex feelings. You go on the internet and you say like, oh, I feel un- uncomfortable in my body, or like bodily discomfort, puberty discomfort,
mm,
lots of normal kind of feelings that these days are getting labeled as dysphoria, which it is in a way, but like it's like, where does that come from? And
right.
for there's it's I was just shocked at how diverse the whole trans thing is, really, and how many different reasons there are for people to pursue transition.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just started to fascinate me, this topic. So I thought, I do want to build a website. I wasn't sure what it was going to be at first. At the start, I thought, well, a good way to prove that these people are actually real would be to have like some kind of verification website where you like upload your prescriptions, your documents,
Mm,
like proving that you did take hormones or whatever, and then maybe post a story. Um, I thought that would probably take a bit of time to get the ball rolling. I don't know if people are willing to share their personal information like that as well. Um, and then I just had the idea, like, shit, there's already so many experiences shared on Reddit and the Detrans subreddit, um, like hundreds and thousands of comments, all just there. Um, and I thought that this is surely the biggest collection of detransitioner experiences on the internet. Can I do something with it? And check like Reddit's kind of privacy, not privacy policy, like copyright kind of content policy. Basically, if you post something on Reddit, you reserve the rights to your content.
mm,
So Reddit doesn't have the rights to any of the comments, which kind of cleared the way for me to just use all of that in Detrans.Ai. And if someone doesn't want their content on the website, they can email me and I'll take it down. I have had one person email me and say, like, threaten me with a lawyer, but they wouldn't even tell me their username. So how am I going to delete your comments if you won't tell me your username? I think it was just someone who didn't like the website.
It was a troll. It was
Yeah,
it was a trans activist. I pretty much will guarantee you it was a trans
yeah, I'd say so
activist.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So you took the stories in the beginning, you took the stories from, because the Reddit detrans is huge. And so you basically could take that and put it into your AI um, site, and then it would sort of populate it with a lot of that content.
yeah. So Detrans.Ai, when you use it, you ask it a question. For
Okay.
example, have trans people always existed?
Mm.
Um, and then it will dive deeper and it will say, is it ethical to retroactively label gender non-conforming people as trans?
Yeah.
And it kind of like expands your original question, and
Mm.
then it finds Reddit comments that relate to that question, that answer that
Mm.
question. Um, and then it pulls them all together and it writes a response, including all the Reddit. It quotes the Reddit comments. So essentially, it's like an advanced search engine for detrans subreddit
Right.
experiences. Basically, it
Right.
doesn't just make stuff up. It it
Right.
is specifically using all of the experiences from Reddit.
Brilliant.
And it quotes them, and you can view the source as well and inspect the user's profile if you're skeptical. And
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to make it all as transparent as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The whole project is also open source, so if you know
Great.
what you're doing, you can read all the source code. You can even copy it and make your own version
Wow.
if you wanted to. I've just put it all out there for free.
Wow.
Um, and this was a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It all runs on donations.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Great.
so if you
Great.
appreciate the website, if you find it useful, please send a donation, because paying for AI credits is expensive.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
and I'm sure after this video, I'm going to get a lot more traffic as well.
You
But
will.
people have been using it. One of the things I added recently was 32 translations, so 32 different languages. And since then, I've been getting a lot of traffic from Germany, France, Netherlands, um, Sweden, like the Nordic countries,
Uh-huh.
quite a lot of traffic from there. Um,
Interesting.
from like Spain and Mexico as well.
Interesting.
Um, not much traffic from the Asian countries, but I think the
Mm.
trans phenomenon is like more of a Western thing, I'd
It's
say.
in Japan. I went to Japan. They are starting to get a little bit more, but I think the culture doesn't won't let it happen the way it went off the rails in the Western. Also in New Zealand, where you are, has it picked up pace there?
Definitely. I mean, I don't have numbers. I do know New
Sure.
Zealand has prescribed the highest amount of puberty blockers per capita.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
know that.
I think like New Zealand has 4.5 million people, maybe a
Okay.
bit more now,
Okay.
and I think it was about like 200 kids were prescribed puberty blockers last year. Um, so, and
That's
there's been a
crazy.
thing recently where the government has wanted to ban puberty blockers for youth,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then a bunch of activists went to court over it, and like I think it's been overturned. So I think they're still doing it. Um,
Wow.
like New Zealand's a small country. There's everyone feels quite connected.
Mm-hmm.
People are nice. Um,
Yeah.
and one thing that I really like have a problem with is kind of like the almost like I think I've heard the term empathy hijacking, where
Mm.
like I don't know, everyone's so nice that like when you actually ask questions about this, everyone turns on you. I don't know, not everyone, but
No, no, no. You're right. No, no, no.
yeah,
You're totally right. In my opening little monologue before this, I told you that's the reason why I do these things because, especially as an older transsexual, who this clearly worked out for me, but it's a very small space. But if any of you, if anybody pushes back on, and I call it trans ideology, I do not call it today what you see is not gender dysphoria. It's why we have so many detrans people. But you're 100% right. I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy, but like attacks. Can they attack? Well, they could attack the server, I guess. But I'm not sure how AI works. Is it like on a server? Like, could they attack? I guess my question is, can they attack your website and have it, crash? Could they do that?
uh, I've tried to make it as hard as possible for that to happen. Um, I have had people just typing nonsense in, and they're
Mm,
obviously not using the service as intended. They're just trying to waste my money.
yeah, I see.
Um,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it hasn't been happening that much though.
This is
But it's
great.
probably yeah,
Well, many reasons why, but that's why we all have to seriously. I don't care if you give him a U.S. dollar or Canadian, whatever you give the guy. If this is how this has to happen, because people aren't supporting these sites because they're supporting transition. They're not supporting detransition, which says to me that nobody really cares about the transition space because with transition comes detransition now. This wasn't happening before, but now with transition comes. So if you're going to support transitioning, you also have to support detransitioning. And until we find that level ground and why this is happening, people like Peter are putting themselves out there at the expense financially as well as could be mentally as well as safety wise because those people can become very insane and as we know we this is not just me making it up, we know they can, the trans activists are totally insane. So it's why I will keep saying that during this conversation. However, you can support this site even by putting it out there for somebody to find it. I think it's the way we're gonna get these. This to me, this is one of the most important sites, Peter. It really is. I find it to be so. You will save so many young people from going down this road of transition when they read the stories on there. They'll read them and they'll be like, "Oh my God, that's me. I can't go there."
yeah. I have a lot of respect for you, Buck, for being a transsexual person who's actually willing to acknowledge that there's some issues with how trans people are being treated. I think it's really, really great that you're willing to
Thank
take
you.
a public stance on this.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
I, I'm, I've been kind of shocked at how some people just want to turn a blind eye to it, and because it doesn't fit their narrative, that yeah,
That's right.
like
It's shocking. It is actually this why I take, and I do appreciate, it means a lot to me that you said that because I'm with you, dude. Like, the thing is like I'm a female woman, whatever you want to call me. I don't look like one. I don't want to look like one. That's my literal gender dysphoria. That's why it's so important for me to step up to the plate because I cannot. It will make me cry, Peter. I'm such a sensitive dude. It will make me cry when I see a 17-year-old young woman cutting her breasts off, and then everyone just turns a blind eye to it. And everyone's just like, well, it's your fault. You shouldn't have done it. And I'm just like, what? How? How are we not having. So I think someone in the chat wrote, weaponizing empathy. That's what you were saying. They're
yep,
they're weaponizing it.
yep.
It's so
And
it's yeah.
there's so much focus on like, everyone. Well, this is something that some people have told me, like everyone is on their own journey,
Mm,
all you can do is support them. And it's
mm,
like, yeah, but what if you can see like quite clearly that there's people who have other shit going on?
that's right.
Like it's
Yeah.
not very sure. It's easy to be kind and to be supportive. That's the easy thing to do. The difficult thing to do is to question someone and you know,
Yes.
be like, are you sure this is really the right thing for you? What have you really felt about what's going on underneath here? And it's not just my family member who I've, I've
Yeah.
seen go down this path when there's other things going on.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few people actually with like pretty obvious other things going on, and I think that they think that this is gonna solve it all, new identity, like
Hmm.
new person, but
Hmm.
yeah,
I know
I
they think it's going to solve it. That's the thing. You know, we used to have something called standards of care within this space, and you had to go through a lot of therapy, a lot of mental health. This is a mental health problem. I have a mental health problem. It's not a physical problem. My body wasn't born wrong, right? I wasn't born in the wrong body. I was born with some kind of weirdo mental space. And it took a long time for me to understand. It also took back in the day, my doctors told me, you're not going to be a man. They told me that. They said, you're going to look like a man. They were so upfront about everything. This is what's going to happen. Where today, it's literally the other way around. You can become a man. You are assigned female at birth. Biology isn't real. Like they're
mm,
literally twisting reality for these young people. And that's the
yeah,
part for me where I'm like, well, why do you have to lie to them? If this was a true thing that was actually happening, you shouldn't have to lie. Like, you have cancer, you have 6 months to live, kind of situation, right? So now how do we deal with that situation? You don't say, you might have cancer. We probably can save you, right? Like, they're not lying about it. They're like straight saying, this is what you got. But now they're not
yeah,
doing that with trans.
yeah, um, yeah, we've got to the point where, you know, trans women are women, trans men are men, and I think it's kind of causing like a, a psychosis, like a
Yes. Bam.
societal psychosis.
Yes.
And it,
Yes.
as you can see, like with the shooting that happened a couple of days ago in Canada, you know, like
Oh my God.
everyone around, it sounded like that person's family affirmed them. You know,
Yes.
Canada's a really one of the most progressive countries in the world on this issue,
Yes.
yet this kind of thing still happens. And
Wow.
yeah, I think like, you know, I think if people are kind of grounded in reality and
Mm,
they do realize, you know, that there are limits to what medicine can achieve in terms of transition,
mm,
you know, and they're okay with that, cool. But like telling kids that they can actually
yeah.
change sex, it can be a cruel lie when they find out that,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
there's limits to what they can do. And when you read like on the trans subreddits, you really only hear like the good side of things and like people talking all this great stuff about their bottom surgeries and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and you know how transition is like such a wonderful thing, but then you don't see the other side of it. You only see the positive stuff.
That's right.
um, and I think it's really dangerous how there's so many online communities these days, specifically Reddit, like
Yeah.
where you only see one side of the story. You only see the positive, like
That's right.
um, promotion kind of side of it,
It's a
and
promotion. That's a great
and
word. That's a great word. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, and same with chatbots. And this is one of the reasons
Mm,
that I built Detrans.Ai. When you use ChatGPT to question your gender or
mm,
to talk about the subject in general, um, it it always affirms the idea that everyone has a gender identity, that
yes.
you should, you know, explore it, and it it it's very like pro gender identity beliefs, I would say. Like it's very affirming,
Right.
and it doesn't really question you. It just kind of, yeah,
No, you're
just
right.
kind of
Does it
takes
pick
you
up?
on.
So AI sort of if I get this wrong, I want you to explain because you're the expert. But so when you type into GPT, like, am I trans, or how do I know how to, is trans real? Any of the kind of thing. And then you're right. It literally affirms, oh, yes, everyone knows their gender, blah, 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 blah. Is it picking up from what is put out on the internet? Is that how it comes up with the sort of initial answer to the question?
Yeah, so overall, um, like ChatGPT, for example, is
Yeah.
trained on mostly English written content on the
Okay.
internet and
Okay.
like literature and so
Okay.
much content. So generally, what you get is the overall kind of dominant narrative or dominant
That's
like
it.
mainstream view.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's specific like safety guardrails in ChatGPT
Mm,
that keep
mm,
it, you know, thinking like that because it's really hard. I haven't managed to get it to kind of like have a gender critical view, for example.
right.
Um, and
Right.
I tried building Detrans.Ai with ChatGPT
Uh
as
huh.
like the base model,
Uh huh.
and it just proved to be impossible. It
Wow.
it would completely contradict the detransitioner experiences um,
There.
that it was fed. And it would always say, you know, transition wasn't right for these people, but maybe it's right for you.
Wow.
Which, you know, maybe it is right for you, but it definitely detracted from like what the point of the site was, which is to talk about detransition. We're not here to just like convince people to transition.
That is so insane, dude. No, but it's so real. And then I think to myself, there's a lot of trans women specifically in the tech world. I'm pretty sure you know that. And
Yep.
I just feel like they are controlling a lot of the narrative. So the reason I asked that question is too because they can just, the thing is I can have so much to say here. I feel like there's adults in the room who are manipulating these young people. So I feel like they're all on the internet putting all this, I'm trans and it's amazing, da, 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 da. So there's so much of the pro trans content being sort of put into the machine that, of course, that's the dominant narrative, because the dominant narrative is being overrun by the detransition narrative, if that makes sense, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, totally. So they're putting that out there. So tell me a little bit about, when you first opened the site and then you brought all that content on. You've had it for, I think you said 5 months, which is nothing. That's not a long time to have this up. But so now, do you have more actual detransitioners going and putting their stories or participating in the website?
Yeah. So one thing that I did recently, because I've had a lot of people around me saying, you know, this is a harmful site. It it hurts trans people. Um, shut it down. Uh,
Wow.
and you know, I really don't think I think it's a good site. I think it's something that we need because we only hear one side of the story, which is all the
That's right.
positivity.
Mhm.
Um, but because of because I've been getting so much flack from people, I
Mhm.
decided, well, this one cool thing to do would be to actually make all the conversations public. So you can
Great.
read the conversations that people are having and see how it's helping people.
Mm,
Um, so I added that feature a couple of months ago,
mm,
and yeah, about half of the people are like questioning or they are
mm,
trans identifying and they're coming for support and to understand the detransition experience. So I love to read those chat threads every day. I feature my favorite ones on the front page, but you
mm.
can also view all of them if you want. Um,
Great.
and I use AI to summarize them as well, so you don't have to read the whole chat thread to get an idea of what people are saying. You just read the little summary, which is
Great.
also available in 32 languages.
Yes.
And seeing
Wow.
conversations come in other languages,
Oh,
and then like yeah, getting the summary, you know, seeing someone from Germany and
wow.
it's just like makes me feel really good that because all of these experiences are shared in English, so to be able to summarize them and share them in other languages
Oh my
is
God.
really, really awesome, I think.
Giving me chills. You're actually giving me chills because, like, this is what they need. You don't even, I can't even begin to tell you how many detransitioners reach out to me. Seriously, I get so many of them saying, "Thank you, Buck," or like, "I don't have anywhere to go." Now I have an actual space to send them to, which is so huge for me. And like, you have such a huge heart. The fact that
Oh,
you're not even trans, but you literally can see how important it, and I can feel your energy across the world from each other. You have such loving, caring energy. You're not doing this out of spite or because you don't believe trans. You wouldn't be on my show if you didn't believe it was real. But the fact that you can see something in such a really grounded way that you see it, and the way you're coming at it is not, "I hate trans people and this is not real." You're coming to it of, "No, no, 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 these people need to have a space to talk about maybe why." But I was going to ask you, have you thought about maybe putting, if I can connect you, I'm very connected to the therapy space. Maybe we can get you some people to maybe even sponsor, or to maybe put, some kind of links to those.
that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I do
great.
have a support page at the moment which lists gender exploratory therapists, and it also goes through the difference between gay conversion therapy and gender
Great.
exploratory therapy.
Great.
Because, like, that's one thing I've noticed people conflating the two, where
Yes.
gay conversion therapy is designed with a specific outcome to stop you from being gay,
Yeah.
and it's been proven not to work. Like, you can't just force
Right.
someone to be something that they're not.
Yes.
And the same thing with gender, like, you can't just force someone to be something that they feel like they're not. If you force someone to do something, they're gonna resist probably, like, they're they're not gonna want it. But if people actually, like, are looking for a therapist that might ask, "Why do you feel this way?"
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's something that all all people should get asked before they pursue transition, I think. Like, why do you think you feel this way? And just gender exploratory therapy is simply, yeah, exploring why you might feel this way, but with no specific outcome. And,
Right.
like,
Right.
maybe transition is the right thing for you. And
But how
but
would you know if you're not so that's such a great thing, because that's what we used to do. They're putting the cart before the horse, for a lack of a better expression. Before, they would try to get you not to transition, not in a bad way, just in a, "Are you sure?" Blah, blah, blah. You had to do steps, live as a man before you took medications. Like, you had to dip your toe into it. And in case you didn't feel like it was, you could back out of it with no harm done. But now that's why they have affirmation therapy. And you're right, homosexuality and transgenderism are two completely separate things. You can't, sexuality is super innate inside of you. Trans people it's a fully different situation. And also today, I believe there's a difference between a transsexual, which is somebody who has gender dysphoria, and somebody who is transgender identified, right? And
oh, totally.
ideological. Yeah, it's an
Yeah, I
ident.
mean, you don't even have to have dysphoria to be cool. That's transphobic, actually, Buck. I don't know if you know.
Bam. Thank you. I appreciate you, friend. It's so transphobic. It's crazy how they've literally twisted the narrative around to sort of, that's why it's very cult like to me, the whole thing. It just feels very culty.
Yeah, I've experienced it myself recently. Um, I got kicked out of where I used to live. I used to
Mm,
live with about 12 people in
mm,
this intentional community.
mm.
And I'd been talking about my site with quite a lot of the people who lived there before I launched it. And most of them were quite open minded about it. They saw the good side of it, and were willing to have a conversation about it, and not just like cast me off.
Yeah.
Um, but then more recently, we've had quite a few people move in who claim to be non-binary, and I didn't know this before they moved in. And to be honest, like I wouldn't have had a problem with it anyway. There's never been a time where I've not wanted to live with someone, like I'm pretty easygoing. Um, but then, yeah, like one of the people is a like gender affirming therapist,
Oh God.
and I didn't know that either. Um, who identifies as non-binary, and yeah, I really wanted to have a conversation about my project and kind of show it to
Yep.
him, and being a therapist, you'd think you'd be quite interested in detransition experiences, maybe, so
Mhm.
you can make sure you help people. Like that's your job, to help people.
Mm.
So you should keep an open mind. But it sounded to me like he just had an agenda.
Totally. Totally.
And I just think that's so wrong. Like if you're a therapist, you should be definitely listening to detransitioners so you can make sure that the people you see get the right thing and not the wrong thing.
No, they're biased. They come into it with now because they're being told to as well. So, I've also interviewed a lot of therapists who feel very upset about the fact that they are being forced to affirm the minute trans comes out of this person's mouth, they have to affirm that feeling, right? It's trans isn't a feeling. Tra- it's literally all over the place now. It's so insane. It's why it takes a lot of understanding. It takes a lot of really walking the world. How can a 15-year-old think they're a man when they're a woman when they don't even have more than 15 years experience living in the world? It's not possible to. Gender dysphoria is very deep and very twisted, and many people throughout the world have lived with gender dysphoria without taking medical space. Okay, and so all of this stuff and this affirmation therapy says to me there's an agenda, because why are you affirming somebody to go on to medical surgery, lifelong situation, instead of saying, wait a minute, maybe we can work with this and you can move through the world without having to take these straps. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why are they
Yeah,
affirming such a drastic choice?
yeah. Well, there could be quite a like dark side to it, like W Path.
Yes.
The members of W Path, for those who don't know what that is, the World Professional Association of Transgender Healthcare or something.
Yeah.
A lot of the members are surgeons who perform these surgeries,
That's
and they
right.
make money out of it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's actually like not that much transparency with the organization.
Mhm.
And a couple of years ago, a lot of files and videos were leaked. You can find them online if you look up the W
Right.
Path files.
Yep.
And yeah, they were basically like admitting that there is problems, and they admitted, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I remember
Yeah.
reading them and just being quite shocked. And
Yeah.
this is still the authority of transgender health
That's
across the
right.
world. My country, New Zealand, still like follows all of their guidelines and directions, and
Disgusting.
and in their latest manual, like they describe um a eunuch as like
I know.
an identity.
Yes.
Someone might come
Yes.
and present as identifying as a eunuch. Like
Yes.
it's just
What?
like, when does it end?
Oh no, dude, they're getting deep. They're also getting into which we can't say on YouTube, but they call them maps now. We call them the P people, the PDFs. No, they're actually bringing them into this whole thing. It's gone off the deep end. WPath is, people have to remember this. It started back in the day when I was, and it came from good intentions because it came from our own people to help us regulate our own community, right? And to understand. Then it became something else, and it's a self-appointed, right? So they're biased right there. It's self-appointed. Every member of that thing has an agenda, and so it just went off the deep end, dude. And it's why they're here in the States, they're being the Federal Trade Commission is now investigating WPATH and the Association of Pediatrics, or one of those, because they gave out false information, consumer information.
Okay, is that a recent thing?
Yes, it's recent. So it's here in the states. It's breaking. It needs to break in the states before it can break anywhere else in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It has to really,
I'd say
the,
so.
the, yeah. The system has to break here in the United States before every other Western country, because you all take it from us. All of the information in New Zealand is coming from America. Puberty blockers, all of the scam, the whole scam.
Yep. And like we saw recently with that $2 million detransition lawsuit,
That's right.
you know, as soon as more detransitioners start to sue,
That's right.
uh, a lot of it's gonna, we're gonna have to actually listen to them and
That's
probably
right.
change how we deal with people who show up claiming a trans identity.
Well, money talks. You and I both know
Money
that.
does talk, totally, and I think money has been talking a lot for the past decade.
Yep.
Um, Everyone's wanting to get on the gravy train,
That's
and
so true.
like you've covered it a few times in your videos, like
Hmm.
the TikTok surgeons. There's literally surgeons on TikTok promoting like mastectomies
Oh,
and
God.
surgeries to kids. It's so dark.
It's so dark, man. Never in a million years would I think. I'm like sitting in, I'm sitting in such a weird position as well, because it did work out for me. And I do have a great, amazing life
Yeah,
through this situation. But remember, I did it at 30 years old through therapy, blah, blah, blah. That being said, I didn't turn on the trans community. I left a community that does not align with the belief of what this is. And so then what happened is it just became what you just said, dark. It is dark when surgeons are willing to operate. Let's just use Jazz Jennings, right? On a young male who wants to be a woman, and give her a vagina. I say vagina, a vaginoplasty that went haywire and didn't work. And this person is on like some reality show here in America for 10 seasons talking about. So you see, they're like pushing it to the young generation through this whole like idea that a boy can become a girl starting at 15 years old, or however old he was. It's I mean, really, it's been going on for a long time. I think we're just now really starting to feel the effects of the ideological space.
yeah. Um, so I've only got about 13 minutes left, Buck.
Yeah,
I've got to
so
head to work today.
talk about more of your site. Yeah, thanks.
Um, so I could do a little screen share if
Oh
people
yeah,
would like that,
yeah,
and just
great,
go through a few things.
great,
Yeah, I can
fantastic.
hold my mic at the same time.
Skills for
Yeah.
skills.
Okay. Share screen.
If you can't, I can, I think. But you should be able to do it from there. Thanks everybody for being here today. I totally appreciate the support with his site. And I'll put all the links in the description when we end today, and just pass all this around. Read the stories. They're, oh, God.
Let's do this again. Share. I accidentally clicked
That's all right.
deny.
Take your time. Thank you. Take your time. He's going to share the screen with, I think, your site, right? Are you bringing up your site?
Yep.
And if anybody knows any detransitioners, please send them to his website and really promote the heck out of it. I'm going to try to get you some more interviews,
Yeah,
other
I would love
channels.
to sit down and chat with detransitioners as well and just
Oh,
gauge
I'll
their
get you that.
response of the
Great.
responses.
Great.
But here we are. Can you see this bug?
Actually, we don't see it. That's weird. Why? Let me see. Hold on. Wait. There it is. Okay, got it. Yeah.
You see that?
Yep.
Cool. So you load the website, and the first thing you see is a content warning.
Okay.
This website contains stories, experiences, and perspectives from ex-transgender people.
Great.
Topics include transition regret, medical complications, and holistic views of dysphoria. This information may challenge commonly held beliefs about gender identity and transition.
Hmm.
And we can continue.
Great.
Um, and yeah, here's the homepage. I've put 6 links on the front page. These are the most important pages of the website. I've got a video archive. So
Great.
the goal with this page is to be the biggest directory of detransition videos. If you see a video that's missing, or if you want to upload your own detransition video, you can just paste the YouTube URL here.
Great.
You can sort by male and female,
Great.
and there's also summaries, which
Wow.
here's my new language menu.
Wow. This is
We could
phenomenal.
even see them in Japanese.
Wow.
And yeah, since launching the translations, people from these translations aren't translated for some reason, but they should be. Look, this one is.
Wow. I'm blown
So
away.
yeah, and with the video page also, I perform speech to text on each video, so I
Uh-huh.
store a complete transcript of each video, and then when you're using the chatbot, if there's a video that matches what you're talking about,
Yeah.
the chatbot can reference it. So
It's
let's
Detrans.ai to the people out there who are asking. It's
yep
Detrans, Detrans dot AI. And somebody just asked, let me just answer this question real quick. They said, are the people consenting to their, and you answered that earlier. You said, if anyone wants their content taken down, you are more than happy to
yep
remove that. That's right.
yep.
Yep.
They've already posted it publicly on the internet, but if they don't want it floated on my website, or yeah, if
Great.
people don't want to be on there, they can get it taken down.
Great.
No one so far has asked me to take their content down, apart from someone who was just
Except the troll.
messing with me. Yeah, they couldn't even give me a username. So
God, dude, I'm sorry, but people are insane.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow. So
on the front page, we have some starter questions. Sorry about what's up with the lizards. That just explains why detransitioners use the lizard emoji. I'm curious about why some people detransition. I'm questioning my gender identity, and I think I might be trans. I currently identify as trans. I'm thinking about detransitioning. I'm a parent, family member, or friend of someone who's transitioning. I'm a researcher studying gender identity and detransition experiences. I want to learn about the struggles and challenges that detransitioners face. I want to understand why detransitioners decided to transition in the first place. I want you to debunk misinformation and commonly held beliefs about detransition. This is a good one. I might come back up here, but I'll just keep scrolling down the front page for a while.
okay, great.
So here we see recent conversations. We have someone from Japan who's speaking in English. It could even be someone using a VPN, because I think, like, people are concerned about their privacy when they talk about this stuff online.
Yeah.
So if I see someone, with the language doesn't match up to the country, I do
Yeah.
wonder if they might be an American using a VPN, or
Yeah.
someone. So this person, after 5 years of testosterone and full gender surgeries, the user tells Detrans.Ai that transition failed to ease their gender distress and left them dependent on hormones, isolated from family, and feeling malformed. Detrans.Ai validates their regret and shares parallel detransitioner stories and urges reconnecting with loved ones while gathering medical and peer support advice to salvage what's left.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so it looks like this person had phalloplasty, scrotoplasty, hysterectomy,
Ugh.
everything.
They had
And
phalloplasty. Oh my God.
yeah, let's load up this conversation.
Oh my God.
Um, it feels pointless now. All those times people in my queer circle would cheer me on to be myself, gave me great motivation to move forward. I thought once it was all done and all the changes I had settled, I'd be happy and the mental health I attributed to dysphoria would go away. Evidently didn't. Now I'm looking at what I can do at this point. I will now forever be a patient on hormones just to survive, and I realize that after all of this, that it doesn't matter if I get to look and sound like fucking Hulk Hogan or whatever. My issues had truly nothing to do with any of this, and it feels like my life is just over now. I'm just so lost because transition is a moving target. I kept changing, but I was never truly satisfied, and no one ever questioned why I was doing all of this. Did I doom myself? How could I not see that being a masculine woman was an option? Sorry if I'm being depressive, but it feels like I'm a dead person walking. All of this to say, I'm trying to learn about the hormones I'll depend on basically forever now.
Wow.
And
So
then
sad.
let's have a look at the response.
Yeah. Oh, so people
So,
can respond. Oh, sorry, Peter. So
oh, this is
people
this
can
is
respond.
this is the AI responding to that message.
Oh, I see.
So I
Okay.
want to start by saying that what you're describing, this profound sense of loss, regret, and the realization that transition didn't resolve what you hoped it would, is something many detransitioners have experienced. You're not
Mm-hmm.
alone in this, even if it feels that way now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me gather some perspectives from others who navigated similar territory, particularly around the
Mm-hmm.
experience of realizing transition didn't solve underlying issues and what life looks like after extensive medical intervention. And then here we see these what I call meta questions. So the AI will come up with questions to find Reddit comments that match these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So it's asked, for those who had extensive medical transition, including surgeries and long-term testosterone use, how did you process that realization that transition didn't resolve your mental health issues?
Mm-hmm.
What helped you find meaning? Um,
Wow.
and
Wow.
then, yeah, it pulls in, it gets about 15 results, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that that kind of match up to that question using some AI magic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Reddit user explains their experience of initial euphoria after transitioning, followed by severe mental and physical health decline. This is something that seems quite common with a lot of detransitioners. You know, feeling the euphoria of seeing the changes and like that would be quite exciting, you know,
Mm-hmm.
as you
Mm-hmm.
notice all the changes and you
Mm-hmm.
feel the change, but then
Of course.
um, there's often like the realization that it didn't really solve
Yeah.
what was going on underneath, or a lot of
Yeah.
people describe like even worse dysphoria.
Yeah. I know. That's right.
um,
Euphoria, because they call it euphoria, which is what you just said. Of course, you got this. Testosterone also, I can speak for testosterone, gives you a very euphoric feeling when you shoot that inside your body, right? You get this higher space. So the euphoric thing is also a scam.
yeah, yeah, you would feel. I've read that too. That you know, testosterone has euphoric effects.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then it summarizes all of these answers for these questions. The next
Mm-hmm.
question I asked was, how do you cope with being dependent on hormones for life?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the grief and regret realizing transition was a moving target? And then it summarizes all of the comments that it finds um, on the moving target and never-ending dissatisfaction. And it, as I said earlier, like it doesn't just make stuff up; it actually quotes people's
Right.
comments.
Yes.
Um, you know, here I was never questioned in the gender clinic why I had a hatred towards everything about myself, my
Mm-hmm.
body, and everything I was,
Mm-hmm.
except that it was obviously because I was transgender. but it wasn't considered that my transgender identity issues could be a psychological symptom of something.
Mm.
This is like the main thing that needs to change, in my opinion, so
Yes,
this stops happening.
that's right.
Um,
It's psychological. It's so weird how they're not understanding. This is a psychological disorder. It's a disorder. It is not normal for a girl to want to become a man and a man to want to become a woman. The fact that they try to normalize it also has me so upset about it. This should not be normalized. It should be talked about 100%, and there should be a space for somebody to move forward in it, but to normalize this the way they are is why we have Detrans.ai because they normalized it.
yeah. So here, yeah, you can read the chats if you want. They're quite interesting.
Great.
If you want to have your own chat, you can just use the little chat box at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And then further down the page, we have deep research mode, which is you can't have a conversation when you're in deep research mode, but it does go very in depth about the question you ask.
Mm.
And here I've just kind of I've come up with a good list of starter questions.
Mm.
These are probably like the top questions that I imagine a lot of people might have. What does trans mean? You know,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of there's like different definitions, and it means different things to different people.
That's right. Great.
Have trans people always existed? Is it true only 1% detransition? This is some of the biggest misinformation that's out today, I think.
Excellent.
This 1% detransition stat, it's
Bullshit.
from the 2022
Mm.
US transgender survey,
Mm-hmm.
where they surveyed transgender people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to find out about detransitioners, you probably should have a, you're not probably not going to find them in a study of transgender people. Who you
Yeah.
will find
Yeah.
are the people who did detransition, but they did it because of peer pressure, or like, they still
Yes.
had that identity,
Yes.
but they felt forced to detransition for whatever reason
Yes.
or circumstances, and then they retransition.
That's right.
So this, that's where this statistic is from. And
Yeah.
also there's similar statistics saying, most people who detransition do it because of peer pressure or like
Hmm.
people around them.
Hmm.
Not true.
Not true.
Of the people who retransition, that is true, but
Yes.
it's not representative of detransitioners because it's a study
Yes.
of transgender people. Like,
My God,
it's
dude, I swear.
insane.
How come there's not more people like you? Like, look, you just
Oh,
have like you. It's, I'm laughing out of nervousness and insanity because literally, dude, they're not having the conversation. Everything
yeah.
you're saying is so fact based.
There's a lack of critical thinking.
Yeah,
People just,
yeah.
oh yeah, it's annoying.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of starter questions here
Great,
of questions you can ask detransitioners.
great.
Different categories: medical reality, society and culture, psychology and identity,
Hmm.
detransition journey, academic and research bias, and controversial perspectives. I put this at the bottom.
Mm.
Some good questions here, though. Who's making money out of gender affirming care? What structural factors lead to underrepresentation of detransition stories in mainstream media?
Great.
In what ways do gender belief systems resemble religions or cults? Quite a few ways, would you believe?
Yeah.
Are schools sidelining parents when children make choices about gender identity? Like, this is another thing that I think is kind of
Yep.
wrong. Like, schools where, the school will keep the kid's identity hidden from the parents, but
Oh,
at school, like, affirm it. And, like,
wow.
that, I would really hate that if that was my kid and they were
Um,
hiding that from
I'm a
me.
parent, dude. My ass is down at the school if that ever happened. And shits, heads are gonna fly. That's the most insane,
Yeah.
undermining parents' ability to raise their own children
Um,
is evil.
I commented on Reddit yesterday on a thread about this because in the UK, they want to remove a school's ability to do that. At the moment, they can.
Yeah.
And I posted a comment about it
Yeah.
and received like 50 downvotes and then got permanently banned. And it wasn't an offensive comment. You know, I'd had that Reddit account for like 10 years, more than that,
Wow.
15 years. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, so
Wow.
that's the end of my Reddit time, I think. Like,
Well, yeah, it's also captured. It's captured, dude. That
it's
that
so
that's
captured.
no, that's why we find each other. You and I and all of us out here are fighting for these kids. We find each other and they can't stop us. That's the power in your site. And I'm gonna do everything I can do, dude, to make sure your site
Uh,
gets even more eyes on it. It needs it. You need to be in like major mainstream.
yeah.
We'll see. Maybe who knows? But I'm serious. You need to get, especially after this lawsuit. It's such a, and it's not a wet. I'm gonna take the screenshot off so I can bring you back on. Is that all right?
Yep. Yep. All
Okay.
good.
Okay, hold on. I just want to bring you back on before we end. But that being said, people need to know that this is here and that they can actually, instead of hearing from the trans community, there's only 1% of detransitioners and there's only 1% of trans people in the world. That's a bunch of bullshit. And so if they see your website and they're literally reading the coolest thing, number one, about your website, dude, is it's AI generated. So it's not your right. It's not your voice. That's the most powerful
Mm,
part of your website to me.
yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not about my opinion or my voice. It's about the perspectives and experiences of detransitioners and
that's right.
basically just summarizing them.
That's right.
Um, and yeah, I'm gonna have to get going soon. I have
Yeah,
some
just
things
say
I need
bye to
to do first.
everybody.
Um,
Your site, and then I'll let you go.
but yeah, please check out the site and share it around. And if you have the means, a donation would really very much be appreciated. Um, I've put thousands of my own dollars into it and don't have a job at the moment, which is
Yeah,
a bit tough.
yeah.
If you want to give me a job as well, like hit me up.
No, seriously, dude. Who
Yeah,
knows? I mean, God,
seriously.
that would be
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and oh, it's just been a pleasure to be on here, Buck. I've been watching your videos for a
Right.
few months now, and yeah, like you've also got such a big heart, and you can just see through the bullshit and speaking
Thank you.
out about it. So yeah, like
Thank you.
much love, much respect, and yeah, I'm sure we'll be in touch
For
and
sure.
talk
That
again sometime.
it's not the last time you'll be on the show, and also I'll just push it. But we find each other, like I said, and we found each other, dude. So I appreciate all the work you're doing. It means the world to me. Together we will help these young people find a better loving space. So you have a great rest of your, is it the
You
daytime
too.
over there? Is it day in New
It
Zealand?
is. It
Starting your
is
day.
about 8 a.m.
Wow. Okay, dude. Go have a coffee and have a
Yeah,
great rest of your day. I'll see you
I
on
will.
the next one. Bye. Bye.
All right. Cheers, Buck. See ya.
Right on. Oh, he's such a cool dude, you guys. Thank you everybody so much for joining us today. These guests, it's so interesting as I've started doing these Saturday lives, more and more people have been reaching out to me. Peter reached out to me a while ago, I think when he first started the site, but he wanted to tweak it and get it. So honestly, I'm not even kidding. If there's anything anybody can do to help this guy out there, either reach out to me, I'll connect you with him. I'll ask about putting his contact information. I don't want to do it before I ask because there's just crazy people out there. But the website is Detrans, okay, RANS.ai. I'll put that in the description of this talk today. I also want anybody who knows a detransitioner or anyone who's struggling. I'm telling you, the site is genius. It's effing genius because, like I said, it's not his own personal opinions, which is why it's so powerful. Like, this channel is on some level my personal opinion. You all know that. But I can bring a sort of authenticity to the talk because of my time of transition. But that being said, I most definitely have an opinion here. Detrans.ai isn't opinion based, it is factual based and it's story, real live people's um, actual, detransition stories, which is why it makes it so powerful. So So I just want to say thank you for joining me on Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining me on these Saturday talks. So far, it seems like this time works for most of us, and we can tweak those as we move forward. Before I leave, I also want to send Canada a lot of love today, and it's just heartbreaking, what happened there. But I found a story. Lisa actually sent me this. I think it was yesterday, about another Canadian trans person that is insane. And I don't know if you all know about the story, but you just wait. I'm working on the video right now. It will blow your mind. Okay. Everything everything blows my mind these days. I'm just so disgusted. But I have another transgender Canada crazy person story. But again, I just want to say a lot of love to Canada, and I hope that we learn from this latest tragedy and trans identified people, and that there are red flags. We're not hearing these young people. We are not. We are affirming young people's space. And there's certain words that YouTube is just after me for. I just need to let you know so I can't say what I really want to say. But I've been thinking about starting like a Patreon or somewhere that I can actually say what I need to say. But being here, what I'm trying to talk about. We are affirming trans people when they trans identified. I'm sorry, trans identified people. It's a red flag. And why are we not looking at it the other way? Why are we only just like, oh, it's a woman in a dress. Oh, it's a boy who wants to be a girl. Oh, this kid is on SSRI medication, but we're giving him. Everyone is just, feels like to me, everyone is just all over the place and not understanding. I think some people who are who are trying to do the right thing are being misled. And I think a lot of people who are sort of being trying to help the trans space are not helping the trans space. Okay. And I think the one thing I want to leave you all with here today, who might be on fence, is they're trans, is they're not, is listen to all stories. Don't just listen to one side of anything ever. You have to listen to everything. It's the reason we are divided. It's the reason why it's the Republicans against the Democrats, and it's why the liberals against the conservatives. It should not be that way. We should all be trying to find space to live together. We don't have to walk on the same side of the street. We can walk across the street from each other, but we've got to learn to share the street. And when we don't learn to share the street explodes. And then none of us have the street to share anymore because we got so effing greedy about what we believe is the right thing to do. So if you're not listening to everybody and everything, and if you're not looking at Detrans.Ai, then you're not learning what is actually the things that are going on here. The detransition rate is huge, and it's growing. And it's growing because people aren't listening to these young people who did drastic shit to their bodies and then being blamed for it. Don't tell me you didn't ever make a wrong choice in your life. Don't tell me that, because I won't believe you. We've all made wrong choices in our lives. But were we given the grace to fix that problem? Most of us were. And most of us came around and learned from that mistake. But do you want a young person to cut their breasts off or take testosterone or estrogen? And how do you come back from that? That's not just a mistake. That is something bigger than a mistake. And the fact that we're blaming detrans people for making a left turn instead of a right turn is so heartbreaking to me and so incredibly disgusting that, just do me a favor and go to Detrans.ai and give it a little, when you're drinking your coffee, read it. Or if you just have a minute at the gym, just look at it. Okay. Just look at it. And if you have something extra to spare, we need to help this guy, okay? We need to help him continue to push this website out there, because this is going to be a game changer. I'm going to tell you in my heart of hearts, this website is going to be a game changer. And we can't let all of his hard work and his money go to waste because we don't see the strength in that, okay? So with that, I want you all to have a beautiful Valentine's Day. My Valentine is in the other room, so I better go and make a coffee for her and have a conversation. And then baby girl says hi. She's in the screaming mode. Wow, that screaming is insane. I'm just like, and then I guess it's just the next mode to all the parents out there. Is it the next mode? Because I'm like, when is that going to stop? Because when she's not being picked up, she screams like a crazy person. I've never seen like. Then when I pick her up and I hold her and she plays with my beard, she's all good. But the minute I put her down, she's like, wah! I'm just like, what's happening? So with that, love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for all the beautiful comments. Thanks for helping me make these videos. Thanks for trusting me to bring it to you real, okay? Because that's just my position here. I have nothing to hide from any of you, and I have every reason to give you factually based information, okay? I'll see you guys all on the next one. Thanks for joining me on a Saturday. Go have a great rest of your day.